All right, Algebra Benchmark 3.2. We're going to go from a table and try to figure out the rule. It's kind of handy if you look at both these problems. It's handy to have a 0 in the x spot. That gives us a hint at the pattern. Without that, and I'll come back to that in a second, without that, if I look at something like this, I would probably try 4 times 2, which is 8, and then maybe go minus 1. So times 2 minus 1 gives me the 7. 8 times 2 is 16, minus 1 is 15. It does not get me to the 9. So that doesn't work. So then maybe I try 4 times 1, or just plain add 3. So just plus 3 over here. If I go plus 3, these aren't working. So it's going to be a little more complicated problem than that. So instead of going through a whole bunch of different ideas, I'm going to use our hint of this 0, 5 to help us out. This means usually I'm going to add the 5 at the end here. I'm going to multiply something times the 0. It doesn't matter what I multiply by. But I know after that, so I'm going to go like 0 times something. And then I have to add 5 to get to my 5, to get to this answer. So my hint is my last step is add the 5. So if I know my last step is to add 5 to get to 7, so it's going to be adding 5, my answer is going to be 7. I just have to figure out what goes here. Well, what goes here is a 2. Okay. Well, it's 4 to start with. So it's 4 times something. This whole thing has to be a 2. So kind of tricky. 4 times what will give me a 2? It's actually a half. Or divide by 2 if you prefer. So 4 times a half is 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. That's going to work. Or if I want to go 4 divided by 2, or just take this, divide by 2, and then add 5. Let's see if that works. I know it's going to work here because of that 5. Let's just double check it with our other point. Divide by 2, so 8 divided by 2, or 8 times a half. We'll get 4. And then my last step is add 5. Do I get that answer? Yep, 9. So there's our rule. So where this x is, I'm just going to write x divided by 2, and then I'm going to add 5. Or I could do half x plus 5, either way. Now let me clean up this mess a little bit. That's kind of tough with the fraction there. Tough one to start off with. Hopefully it'll get easier than that. So let's do the rest for the other ones then. So divide 10 by 2, which is 5, plus 5, 10. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, plus 5 will give us 4. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. And then we should have to keep adding 5 because that's our rule. I'm looking at this. And negative 3 plus 5 is 2. So use the numbers you have, the ordered pairs that you have to start with to figure out the rule. Then use that rule to come up with the other points. Because these are just kind of random points. They're not in any order that you can see a pattern left to right. They're just kind of randomly put in there. And then our rule, when I actually write the rule here on this line, I have to take what I have in that box and just write the same thing with my output y. So I have y equals that x divided by 2 plus 5. Okay, and then again, you could write 1/2 x. That looks a little cleaner to me, but either way. All right, the next problem. I'm going to jump right to the hint. Okay, my hint is I'm going to subtract 3 because it gives us the 0. Let's use it. So I need to subtract 3 from something to get to my last thing, because 0 times something gives me some answer. But I know at the end I'm going to go plus negative 3 or minus 3 to get to that second answer. So I need to get to something where I know if I subtract 3 from it, I need to get to 25. So right here has to be a 28. Okay, so I need to somehow get from 7 to 28, which is obviously times 4. So if I take my x value and I go times 4, I'll get 28. Take away my 3, I'll get my 25. So I'm going to check this rule and see if it works for the other ones. Times 4 minus 3. If I take my negative 3 and I go times 4, I'm going to get, that's positive 4 times, I'll just go like this. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So if I go negative 12 and then it's minus 3, does that give me, that gives me negative 15. Does that give me this answer right here? Yes, it does. So that is our rule. So I'll write that over here, 4x minus 3. I'm going to erase the rest of our mess. Get that out of the way. Get all this stuff out of the way here. Okay. And then we just, maybe I'll write the rule right away. Y equals 4x minus 3. And then just fill in the rest of the table. 4 times 5 is 20 minus 3, 17. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24 minus 3, negative 27. And 2 minus 4 is 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. That's it. Good luck.